and fair evening, my friends. Welcome back to the tavern. I hope that you are all doing exceptionally well this evening. Now, I will get it out of the way. We're not going to read tonight since I'm getting on so late. I didn't want to make anybody have to miss anything because I know that we are getting on incredibly late this evening. Uh, I was thinking of making mug cakes. Ooh, mug cakes are yummy. Uh, by points, you mean the ones using the highlight? Yes, yes. Nice and crispy ones. Shay can be the beans instead of the cheese this time. I need the cheese to count the potatoes. Mel, hello, it's good to see you. Welcome in. Okay, let's see. Who all do we have in tonight? We have Milu, we have Mel, we have Molly Sue, mash 'em, boil 'em, stick 'em in a stew. Yeah, see, there you go. Following the wise advice of Samwise Gamgee. We have Shay the Bean, we have Bethany, we have... Okay, so Milu, Mel, Molly, Bethany, Shay. I think I've noted everyone. And there is Matty. Book 3 edits are driving me crazy now. Matty, I think you could probably take a break from all of the writing and editing and start working on the publishing aspect now. You're three books deep. I think you can take a little reprieve from the writing and go into the making money aspect of putting out books, if you are so inclined. Of course, I'll never tell you you have to make money. Tyson, hello, my friend. Good to see you. Cheesy bread. I do love me some cheesy bread. It's chemo day. The steroids will keep me up all night. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. But it's so late. I know that I know Frost and a bunch of others will. Obviously, the Scorch Queen will already be in bed with her littles. Oh, well, that explains it. I have a strong magical connection, or so I'm told. My friend called me a conduit or whatever. Interesting. A channeler of the magics. Why is the music so loud? Oh, I see why the music is so loud.
I was like, where is that music coming from?
I normally have it turned down here, but I was like, why is it all so loud everywhere? Insane. It's alright. I fixed it. It's fixed. Nobody panic. Now, what I can do, if you guys are so inclined, hey, where's the waffles? They're all in me. You all have to fight and cut them out of me if you want them. That's how it works. When we have waffles, you all get in and you fight, and then whoever cuts me open and takes the waffles out, that's where the waffles come in. Book 1 is on the editing phase where things are officially going for everything I missed on the first round. That's why I've cryptid helping. Oh, I see. Sounds unnecessarily violent. Waffles are violent. Shay, if you want waffles, you have to be willing to be violent for them. They are the most violent of breakfast foods, or so I've been told. Ryan, hello, my friend. I'm good. I am well. We are having ourselves a bit of a relaxed night since I had some technical difficulties, which put me on 2 hours later than I wanted to be to see you all here in the tavern. And Ace, it's good to see you. Hello. I did eat them all. But if you coax me, they'll come back up as words, which is interesting. Belinda, hello. I have not finished. We're actually not going to read tonight. Well, hang on. That's a lie. It might be a lie. Hang on. The lady has... I don't think I'm strong enough to eat waffles. I mean, you have to find underhanded tactics to get your waffles. You have to learn how to fight covertly. Captain Carlson, I just dropped in to say I love you, friend. Much love to you as well. I'm glad you dropped in. It's always lovely to see you. I hope you're well. I hope that you are getting things done and enjoying your life as it stands. Since the potatoes will take a bit, I'll wait to start the bacon. I love how you guys just start these stories in the chat and then run with them. Oh, it's fun. Joker, hello, my friend. How you doing this evening? Does footsies with castle under the table. Is this covert enough? Uh, yes, Matty, that's precisely as covert as you need to be. Dutch babies are the unsung breakfast heroes. That's true, Lacey. And hello, welcome in. Bless you, my darling. This is one heck of a breakfast. It's going to be massive. Bear, hello, brother. Welcome in. So, the lady has suggested that what I could do, because I've been spending a lot of time revising the Twisted Fates chapters, and some of you have heard them, some of you have not. This is the book that we are writing together as a community. Their story is being told by the tavern in the tavern. I have the prologue and the first chapter completely done. The second chapter is almost finished, and then there are 3 more chapters after that that are in the process of being done. And I should have them done this week, Lord willing. Bear says blessings to Una. I'm still washing and peeling. If you want it faster, start cubing. Oh, you guys are something else. Yeah, you got any plans for the weekend, Joker? Anybody else doing Super Bowl? Which, by the way, the lady and I, there may not be story time on Sunday either. Depending on how late we get home. We're going to visit family on Sunday, and we may end up being late because we're going to a family friend's home to watch Super Bowl. We're not actually going to watch the game because none of us actually gives a damn about football. But we're going over to play some snooker and eat with some family friends while the football game will be on in the background, I presume. Nope, we're hoping NG to go to the Great Wolf Lake. For the day we have a day pass. Oh, I see. The Great Wolf Lodge. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. Great Wolf Lake I had not heard of. Wolf Lodge makes more sense. Speaking of Sunday reading, was there a reading last Sunday? No, the lady abandoned you all. Wait, did you abandon them last Sunday? No, she did read last Sunday. Sunday before she abandoned you all. But there was a reading last Sunday. Yes. See, she doesn't even remember when she abandons you guys now. It's become such a regular thing. She's like, oh, who knows? She's not even paying attention to me because she's playing with a cat. She's combing him and watching his reaction. Well, because last night she let him get to sleep, and he was a douche all night long. The Super Bowl has been a great excuse. Yeah. I haven't properly watched sports in probably 15 years. Most professional sports give me the feeling that they're fixed, and obviously I can't prove that, but you can kind of tell whoever's going to make the most money for the NFL or whatever the league is usually the team that wins. And to me, that's not terribly exciting. And professional professional athletes are such prima donnas. They're so dramatic. It's the worst in soccer, like European football, and basketball. These guys are so dramatic. But I used to play sports when I was younger. I did martial arts. I did American football. I did some soccer. And I've always liked that, and I will watch college games every now and again because it's at least fun to watch these college guys do it. But the professional athletes, they're so dramatic, such prima donnas. I just can't enjoy watching it anymore. I never like super enjoyed watching other people do things anyways. It's one of the reasons why I'm not a big reality TV guy. I'm like, well, if I wanted to go eat, I'd just go eat. I don't need to watch other people eating. Yeah, or drama. Like if I wanted to, fight with people in my family, I just go start fights with somebody next door. Pro wrestling is different though. Like pro wrestling is its own sort of drama. Pro wrestling is an entirely different thing, Ace. Hey, driver, hello, good to see you. I'm going to get to sleep. It's almost 5 a.m. and well past my bedtime. Good night, Belinda. I'm surprised you're even awake, but I'm glad you dropped in. I hope you have a good night. I hope you rest well, and we will see you again soon. I mostly just kind of relax and play a little bit of a game, probably put on a movie. Yeah, that's fair enough, Joker. That's fair enough. That's a good way to spend it. The Super Bowl has always been a great excuse for. Yeah, that's usually what we use it for. We'll go and we'll have a barbecue of some kind with family and friends. Wrestling is a soap opera with yeah, that's true. Pro wrestling is supposed to be dramatic, right? Right, and at least it's a hammy kind of drama. So yeah, but like I don't like reality TV. Like I don't like watching Survivor. I don't like watching any of these like Real Housewife things or uh, My Strange Addiction. And no shame on anybody who does like watching them. It's so much drama and like human weirdness. I get plenty of that in my regular life. I don't necessarily need it on television.
We did talk about Sunday.
Did you actually?
We were talking about strange addictions, remember?
Yes, that's right. Driver, thank you for the hardening. Tips to the tavern, keep it always appreciated. Very true. I'll just man the toaster. They've started a kitchen in the chat. They're just talking about making breakfast, but they're like creating logistics for making a gigantic breakfast. Also, Castle, the only book so far mostly consistent I've written is book 2, which I've sent you. Book 1 is mostly consistent too, but with weird inconsistencies with Beneath, which will happen. Which will happen. I might be reading a book probably on Friday and Saturday. What book did you pick up, Joker? I have a bunch of books that I need to read. Because I've
So do we all.
well, yeah, but most of you buy books that you're like, oh, I'm gonna read that someday. I don't really own any books that I hadn't read until this year. Because I spend so much time reading and doing other sorts of uh, books and things and writing and all of that I don't often do it. I've started to enjoy women's sports, so much less drama than the professional men's sports, and looks like they're actually playing the game as it was meant to be played. I can enjoy some women's sports. If it's a particularly violent sport, it ends up being not as interesting, which is why I stopped watching football. Like these guys are so afraid to take a hit that I'm like, like, if I wanted to watch men dance around each other, I'd watch the ballet. You know, I don't. If I am watching,
They do that.
yeah, well, they should go do it more and put some guys on the field who are willing to take a hit. Like football and rugby, these are like inherently violent sports. And if I am watching a violent sport, I want to see violence. I'm just saying, like if I do, like football is a violent sport, and I'm not saying that I want to see these guys get hurt, but I do want to see some violence happening in my football, huh? That's the only reason anybody watches. Nobody watches hockey well. I would. To be fair, actually, there was a. Speaking of women's sports, Bear, there was a woman's. I don't know if it was mixed, but it was a female hockey player. I saw a clip of it a few days ago, where she straight up baited a guy. Because what some people will do is they'll toss the puck into the air, and what will happen is you can grab the puck out of the air and toss it back onto the ice. So she baited the guy. She tossed it up into the air. The guy in front of her grabbed for it. She smacked it back down, passed it underneath his legs, and it was this incredible score. Like I rarely enjoy a hockey game that doesn't have a fight in it, but occasionally you get a really good score, and I'm like, I'm here for it. Well, any sport live is different because then it has nothing to do with the sport itself. It has everything to do with the energy of the people in the crowd.
Yeah, that's the bad.
Gunnar, hello. Women's rugby has great skill. I've seen, women's rugby. The women who play rugby, like they get into it. But so do the lads. Like the lads that play rugby, like you'll see guys walking off of a rugby field like half a lip hanging off because they kicked each other in the face with cleats. Norse mythology. What specifically What book specifically did you get, Joker? If you don't mind my asking. Uh, I will not comment on me watching. We all know why you watch women's sports, Matty. All right. We all know. You can't hide it from us.
We've got to tease Maddie, huh?
Yeah. Football has geared. I'm worried about my kids and it's rugby. Yeah, everybody watches hockey for the fights. Like there's no getting around that. Hockey is all about the fights. If you say you watch hockey for any other reason than the fights, you're lying, or you didn't know there was fights in it. That's really the half and whole of it. Um, I played the fifth. Neil Gaiman's North Mythology. I got that from. Oh yeah, it's a good one. I don't particularly care for most of Neil Gaiman's work. I think he's a good writer, but I think he's dramatic. Speaking of drama, I think Gaiman is a very dramatic writer, and so a lot of it tends to be very overwritten, in my opinion. But his Norse mythology book I recommend to people a lot because it is a great look at because storytelling has drama to it, right? And our ancestors, the way that we remember these stories is through dramatic storytelling. And I think that Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology book is a really good way to get an idea for how the stories evolved. Frank12222, thank you for the follow over on Kick. Welcome in. So very glad that you could join us. But rugby guys also have amazing camaraderie. Camaraderie is a hard. I always forget how to spell it too. Hey, look, don't worry about it. That even after they split each other's lip, those right players, they're helping the hurt one, and in the public, yeah, absolutely. Like you will not find a better group of lads than a bunch of rugby players. That's for sure. They're all about being the boys. I was an original Nintendo hockey game that included fighting. It's true. That's true. The original Nintendo hockey game did have fighting in it. That's funny. I loved Good Omens, but yeah, that was kind of ruined for me. Good Omens, I only watched season 1 of Good Omens. I thought it was all right. I like the two well, I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but the two main characters, I like them as actors. At least I like their performances. So I enjoy them. Just curious, does Vicarun sound better than Vicara for an elf race named based on North Germanic myth? Well, what is it? What are the root words you're using there, Matty? Because I would actually say that Vicara sounds better, but what are the root words you're coming from? Because you know me, I'm a stickler for language. Argentine, hello, welcome in. How goes it? I don't know if I've ever read your name completely, but that is very funny. It's Argentine Long Dong Uncle Duck. That is a heck of a name. The show and the book couldn't watch season 2. Felt like fans of, that happens a lot. That happens a lot. I get shut off of a lot of shows where they decide to go way too far into fan service, or where they're like, oh well, we're allowed to have all sorts of nudity and murder, so let's just do that. Rabbits gave me North mythology as a birthday gift a few years ago. Yeah, I think that Neil Gaiman's North mythology is an excellent introductory book into like the storytelling of Norse mythology. It's not overwhelmingly accurate. It's not incredibly it's not scholarly rigorous, but it is a good book. It is well written. I think it was called Blades of Steel. I'm now lost. The coaches on my kids' team literally said, intro to contact. In rugby, we all like each other, so we're learning to get each other to hit each other safely. Yeah, and that's an excellent way to look at it. Rugby, fight on the field, go for a beer afterwards. Absolutely, yeah. I almost took a guy's head off, and I don't mean that lightly. Like his whole spine cracked when I hit him, and afterwards we all went and got got food together. We were young, so obviously we weren't going to the pub. But there was another guy who was about my age, and I caught him by the neck, and I felt his whole back and his neck crack, and I thought I killed him, but he was fine. He was fine. He was a little bit sore, but he was fine. Huh? Just barely. It's possible. Good Omens is a better book than a series. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Rugby is very extreme. It began as Long Duck Dong and then became Argentine Long Dong. That's very funny. That's funny, Argentine. I'm making a separate bowl after of melons and bananas. Gets them to serve themselves the other fruit salad so there's no cross-contamination. Ah, that's smart. A Viking and Rune. So why are you naming your elf race Viking and Rune when in Germanic, elves are called Alpha? What is the reasoning behind calling them Viking and Rune? What is the internal logic there? Hails, individual, hello. You are indeed an individual. What an apt name. You're not a collective. You are an individual. Hello and welcome in. So very glad that you could join us. Blades of Steel. Oh, was the Nintendo? Yes. Oh my gosh, that's old. That's like SNES era, maybe even NES. That's very old ACE. Oof, that would have sounded and felt so gross. It did. I genuinely thought that I killed the lad because when he landed on the ground, he did not move. And I was terrified that I had broken his neck. Because you're not supposed to clothesline in football or in rugby, but occasionally you throw out an arm, and if you're both running, occasionally you'll break a tooth, you'll break a jaw, but I got him right underneath the chin and lifted him up, and I just felt his whole his body vibrated from how hard I hit him, and when he hit the ground, he just lay there for a solid 90 seconds, and I thought I killed him, but he was fine. Again, he was a little bit sore afterwards, but he was fine. Are you saying I'm old? We're all old, Ace. Remember, the 90s was 35 years ago. No, I'm sorry, the 90s was 25. The 90s ended 25 years ago. Things are wonderful in the tavern, Petra. How are you? Ads and 5. Thank you, Bear. We can snooze them for a minute. We'll pop them back up here in a second. I was looking for something that looked cool visually and linguistically, but I'm second guessing Viking and Alfar mixing. So what was the reason for using rune though? That's what I'm curious about. Viking comes from Vikinger or Vikar, which means to go on a voyage or to go on a voyage from a certain section of land. Frost, I thought you'd be in bed. I literally decided to not read tonight because I figured you and a bunch of other regulars would already be in bed. But thank you for the resale, brother. 13 months is deeply appreciated. Shh, don't remind us. I know. Kids these days don't know the joys of taking the game cartridge, blowing in the connectors just to get it to stop glitching. Right. We didn't know that we were slowly corroding our video games away with that. Yes, I am. I am me. I'm just an individual, nothing too special. Great to see you, but even greater to hear you. Well, it's wonderful to have you, individual. We always enjoy having interesting, which I would say that as an individual, you are special. In your own special way, according to Mr. Rogers. Also, I have a Celtic mythology book and Ozzy Osbourne's Last Rites book. Wow! That's a hell of a lineup for the weekend. Who is making the eggs? Oh, I forgot you guys. I forgot you guys had the kitchen running over in the Twitch chat. For anyone who is new, who's not been in before, we have portals open on multiple platforms. You can come in through Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Kick, or TikTok, whichever strikes your fancy. Yeah, Frost, I had to stop by and at least say hello. Well, I appreciate you for it. Don't stay up too late, though. I was thinking of Odin when I make the name. The rune was mostly me trying to evoke runes into the mixed. It was me trying to say this race is mystical and sea starfarers. Okay, I see. Would it not then make more sense to just call them elves, call them Alfar, and then have them have a moniker that then evokes the seafaring mysticism, right? Like give them a moniker like they are called the Vikara or the Vikru, whatever you. I'll get you something that would be linguistically sensible. But why not just call them Alfar and then give them a moniker that they are called because of these things? Hey, big boy, just remember to catch your light. Well, I'm glad you made it in for it. We're just having discussions tonight because I had a bunch of other things that happened and I wasn't able to get home on time. So story time today is much more relaxed than usual. I'm not going to be necessarily reading, but we'll see what happens. I want nice thin waffles with bacon, sausage, and maple syrup. You talking about like a crepe, or are you talking about like a Swedish waffle? Well, thank you. You're rather special fellow yourself. Oh, you flatter me. I'm just a grumpy old storyteller. Who is whining over there? Of course he is. Yeah, so it's sort of like English. In English, we call Germany Germany, right? But the Germans would call Germany Deutschland, right? You're still a young and castle. Yeah, as young as my body will let me be. You insist on me being special, yet you deny your specialness by calling yourself that stuff. Well, I'm not saying that I'm not necessarily not special, but I am but a humble tavern keeper. See, you're all out there in the world doing things and creating the stories. I am just the figure who keeps those stories and makes sure they get passed along. But yeah, Maddie, basically that. So it's sort of like what is Japan called in Japanese? Is it Nihon? So yeah, like Japan is Nihon, and Nippon. So you would look at it like that, right? Like the Irish weren't always called the Irish. They went by their specific clan names. Like the Irish weren't really considered as like one collective until like the 1400s. Up until that point, there was no like collective Irish identity. It was you were an O'Brien, you were an O'Neill, you were a an O'Reilly. There was like it was all segmented. So when you think about nationalities, you have to remember that for most places in the world, there was not a collective identity. Like China was not collectively China until it was unified under the Qin dynasty in what the 900s, the 1100s, somewhere in there. No, I think it was even older than that. I think it was back in the 4 and 500s. So you and from the outside, they're usually called something different. Nihon, Japan, Nihongo, Japanese. Right, see? Thank you, Frost. I appreciate you for that. I think the raccoons are in my green bin again. I have something similar with Tirnafe, Failwind. Call it that as the settlers with the native Fëanor call it, Favernith. You're really working hard. China was 3. You might be right, Maleficent. I'm terrible with dates. I'm really good with stories. I'm terrible with dates. I'll take you. I'll take you at it, probably. Your role as story keeper and teller is very important. Well, thank you kindly, individual. I appreciate you for that. Do you have a name other than individual you would like to be called, or are you all right with me just calling you individual? Well, your naming convention is gonna be a huge barrier for a lot of people. I study these stories and languages all the time, and you still occasionally get me to stumble. Part of that is because you're using very unusual combinations of the vernaculars. You may call me Marcella. Well, Marcella, you may call me Castle. I am the keeper of the Black Dragon Tavern, and I have my lovely wife Una is over there, and our son Everett is over there, and then we have 2 cats and a beast, a dog, who is probably whining somewhere. He's a big whiner. Sorry, I looked it up, 221 to be precise. No, that's alright. That's alright. I appreciate you doing it. Marcella. Marcella. Wait, I didn't see what you said. I asked a German friend if he knew the square root of 81. He said no. I didn't even see it, man. But that is a good joke. That is a good joke. Oh, that is very funny. I do appreciate it, Bear. I do appreciate it. Come on, there are crispy. There's times for crispy and times for chewy. I'm sorry, individual. I got tracked off. So Marcella, I believe that Marcella is Latin because it has a root in Marcellus and Marcus. But that's all I know off the top of my head. Although I do believe that Marcus has roots in Mars, and it might mean warlike. But I think that's all I can remember off the top of my head. Friends, over on the Twitch portal, we're gonna run ads real quick. It'll be 3 minutes and then we'll get an hour without them. Very good, now I'll tell you more. Alright, very good. You've got no need for me to elaborate. I'm generally pretty good with names. I'm generally pretty good with names and etymologies. That one stuff I don't talk a lot about Latin names. So that one put me in the stump for a second. Omnilink, hello! Isn't that just a fancy word for mushrooms, Marcella? Mycelium is what you're thinking of, Omnilink. Castle, what would you do if you heard a resounding disembodied shriek? Ignore it. Generally speaking. My primary area, I am a classically trained storyteller, Marcelo. And in doing that, I've studied, my family we have a long history and a long lineage of storytelling. But I also have taken into my own studies through university and school, linguistics and mythology and literature as a role. So I generally have a pretty good finger on names and words and their meanings. Not always. My brain is a Yahtzee dice cup when it comes to information. If you shake it, something good might come out, but usually not. Of course, Omna. My absolute pleasure. I wish it was mycelium. I love mushrooms. They seem otherworldly. Mycelium is such an interesting thing because it is it is the physical embodiment of the cycle of death and decay, right? Like mycelium and the various types of mold and what we would consider rot are very important for the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Mel says my PC is Windows and also has 100. I have to constantly get on Una about this because she will leave up hundreds of tabs on her phone and on her little magic box. My other middle name, Marcella is one of my middle names. My first name is Courtney, which I'm not a fan of. And my other middle name is Lindsay. Courtney, I don't have off the top of my head. Good night, Joker. I appreciate you dropping in, my friend. Have a good night. I hope your Friday is excellent and that you have a wonderful weekend. So your name is Courtney, Marcella, Lindsay, and then you have a last name. Skylar Moon Cove, Final Fantasy. What is it? 14. Almost tripped me up there with the Roman numerals. Courtney of the Courts. I know that Lindsay is the Isle of Lind because it's Scottish, and it has to do with the Lind clan or the Lindsay clan of Scotland. That one, or at least that's what I can remember off the top of my head. Courtney of the Courts, that makes sense. Simple, elegant. So you are of the Courts of Lind and Mars. That's a pretty fun name. You are of the Courts of Lind and Mars. I gotta bail, have fun. Omnilink, thank you for dropping in, my friend. Have yourself a wonderful evening. I appreciate you spending time with us. Have yourself a wonderful night. Have a great Friday. And have a wonderful weekend. I hope that it is filled with victory and progress for you, my friend. Even if it was happening in a very creepy place. Look, first of all, I would not go to creepy places. That's at the top of that scenario. Castle does not go to creepy places. I have a very strict rule about don't put myself in a place where I'm gonna have to die first. Don't put myself in horror scenarios. Just never do it. But if it was in a creepy place, I would still ignore it to the best of my ability and go the other way. Whatever the other way is, that's the way that I'm going. Now I have to get off to Sleepland. It was good to see you all. I'll be back on Sunday. Rest well. Be safe, Devon family. Rest well, Frost. Have yourself a wonderful evening, and I hope that you sleep well, my friend. That you rise tomorrow ready to conquer the damn day. I named my fat dragon Orunoth. What do you think of that name for him? What is the inspiration for the name? It doesn't strike anything off the top of my head. So Orunoth. Everyone can get their second fruit if they want it correct. If you want second fruit, you guys are ridiculous. Do you have a favorite form of mycelium? I'm not a big fan of edible myceliums, but if I had to pick one, lion's mane is particularly tasty. I don't like the texture of it, but lion's mane is tasty. And then there's another one that is sort of fuzzy, and I can't remember it off the top of my head. But that one is also very good. Not to start a frenzy, but since there's no reading tonight, will there be songs? Yeah, we can do songs a little bit later. I figure I'd be on for another, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour. I still have to put out today's story time. It hasn't gone out yet. It's going out very late tonight, which I don't typically like doing. Similar to ornamental dealings with kings and grand things. Interesting. Odonath. No, that's for is that for a snake or for like a bearded dragon? Is oh, we haven't done Peter Street in an age. That's right, Bear. I'm all about it. We should definitely do Peter Street tonight. I think that is a spectacular idea.
His hair just like magically looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's not even fair. Maybe.
Yeah, it looks good. Did you give it a trim?
Yeah, I trimmed it.
Yeah.
You wanted to cut off like that much?
Yeah, it looks good.
Check your notes.
Have you heard of ghost pipes? Ghost pipes. Is that are those the ones that look like? No, those are dead man's fingers. What am I thinking of? Hang on. Let me. Oh, these ones. Yes. Yes, they are. They are a fascinating little plant. We haven't done Black Velvet Band in a while either. No Black Velvet, I don't do well with that stuff. I do try to keep track of the songs. I'm a bit of a nerd like that. Yes, you are, and I appreciate every ounce of you for it, my friend. Are they wonderful? Biblioteca Publica Mundial. Welcome in. Very good to see you. I had no idea that the Biblioteca was in Mexico. Welcome in, my friend. Are they wonderful? And what's happened upon some ghost pipes while camping in Michigan as a child? They are lovely. I've only seen them in person in exhibits. I've never seen them in the wild, but they are indeed quite lovely. Lacey says, ghost pipe is not a mushroom at all. It's actually a parasite. Interesting. Now, is it still a form of mycelium, though? Because there are mycelium that aren't necessarily mushrooms, right? Like, there are some mycelium that are not mushrooms, or not considered mushrooms. But and a lot of mushrooms are also considered parasites, yes? The name means World Public Library. Biblioteca Publica Mundial. Interesting. Obviously I knew Publica and Biblioteca means library. It's like some of the first words you learn when learning Spanish. But that is fascinating, though. So now I gotta look it up. Are ghost pipes? My search pipes? Are they mythical? Yes, they are. Mycelium. Okay, so ghost pipes, Montropa uniflora, oh, that's a pretty name, are not mycelium or fungi, but rather parasitic. So they're not fungi or mycelium. Interesting. Non-photosynthetic flowering plants that feed on. So they feed on fungi. That's very interesting. So according to the overlords Google, they are not mycelium or fungi, but they actually flower by feeding on fungi. The act of I'm not even sure I can say that word, mycoheterotrophs tapping into nutrient-rich underground mycelium networks of Rusculae fungi, Rusulaceae, that's such a long word. I'm not nearly smart enough for that. Fungi to obtain energy, often appearing in forests where trees provide carbon to that same fungal network. That is interesting. Yes, it's still mycelium. It just does not photosynthesize on its own. Interesting. It's very interesting. Basically, plants. Rafgarino, hello and welcome in, my friend. Basically, okay, hang on. I lost track of you. Basically, plants that pulled the Urno reverse. Yeah, they basically they did the fungi on the fungi. It's an excellent plant that you can use for pain management. Interesting. Yes, I love books and mythology. Found your videos on Instagram. Good stuff. Well, wonderful. I'm glad to have you. I am Castle, by the way. This is my tavern, and here we talk about myth and lore and tales of yore. And every now and again, I read you all a story. Normally, I would be reading you all a story tonight, but I got all on dreadfully late. And I didn't want any of the regulars who show up to miss out on the stories that we're reading. So tonight, we're just having discussions. So apparently, ghost pipes can be processed into something for pain management. I'm not a doctor. Don't take my word for it. Ghost pipes can be used for neuronal disorders as well. Useful and beautiful. Wonderful. That's very interesting. So ghost pipes, they're a form of non-mycelium mushroom-like plants that look sort of like weeping bellflowers of sorts. They are quite interesting. See, they're these sad sort of like little weeping bell. Oops, so they're for TikTok, and they're for everybody else. Oh no, hang on. There we go. They are lovely and fascinating. They go back and forth between sort of a ghostly white and a pink. And they feed off of underground mycelium networks. Oh, I've seen those before. They turn black when cut, I think. You have to process them in the field if it is what I think it is. It's very possible. Again, I've only ever seen them in fungi exhibits. So I wasn't even aware that they weren't mycelium. Learn something new every day. What a pleasure and privilege. I got completely off track with that whole. If you had to choose a favorite mushroom, it would be Cornopus armentaria, Atramantaria. What is it with mushrooms out here sounding like they are the children of Greek gods? I suppose it sort of makes sense considering they have a Latin base. Das Romania. So, my friends, the lady hath suggested that I should read to you the prologue and the first chapter, the revised chapters of Twisted Fates, which for anyone who's new here, Twisted Fates is a book that I am writing, but it is being written sort of like a big D&D campaign. Each of the platforms which we make stories on has been given a character, and we'll have videos coming out about this very soon, where each platform will have a character. After each chapter, you will be given a poll to decide what happens with that character next, and then I will write the next chapter, based on what each platform decides will happen. So literally, we are writing this story together, and it's like a big D&D role-playing game that incorporates the entirety of the tavern. Yes, do it now. This is gonna Google the results. Yes, ghost pipes, Montropa uniflora, turn black quickly, then cut, handled, or damaged. They are extremely delicate, and this rapid oxidization or darkening is a natural reaction to being damaged, or as they mature and decay. Merry snotty. Google the results. Yes, we're actually writing several books at the moment. We have 4 that are currently in the process of being made. We have Twisted Fates, which we're writing together with the community. We have the Book of Grimm, which is our older young adult series based off of Grimm fairy tales. Then we are working on a children's series that teaches myth and responsibility and things. That follows a little girl who lives in a magical version of Ireland who is named Alfie. And then we have our Creatures of Yggdrasil book, which is a companion book to a later novel series we're working on around Norse and Celtic myths that sort of give a novelized introduction to the various figures and creatures that can be found in Norse and Celtic mythology. And we might expand that out into world mythologies as well, but for now we're trying to work our way through those. But right now the ones that are currently closest to being put out are the Twisted Fates chapters and the Book of Grimm and the Alfie book. I need to learn to write books. My kids and I have notes and ideas, but none of us have been able to put together as a story. It is a difficult thing to do, but if you learn how to do it, the world will be better for it. Right, you guys have as many projects that go as I do. I can't keep mine straight. Yeah, well, because we put out a new short story every day. We're now putting out longer stories every day that deal with storytelling, myth, and history from all over the world. Currently we're in the process of writing 5 books in total. The lady also has a fantasy project that she's working on. I only serve as editor and feedback for that project, though. I'm not actively working on the writing for it. We do myth and history stories every single day. We do 3 live story times a week. And then we are also working on getting some music put out, as well as working on getting the physical doors of the tavern opened back up, though that's a matter of time and money. We don't quite have the funds to do that yet, but as funds come in, we'll be working on reopening the physical tavern doors. And then eventually that will come into the artisan village, where we plan to build a village where we will actively work to keep alive, restore, and reinvigorate the handcrafts of our ancestors. Darth Nexus, my friend, Butterbeer Time, hello, it's good to see you. Thank you for the high bear. Tips of the Tavern Keeper are always appreciated. Any Selkies? We do talk about Selkies sometimes, and the children's book will definitely have Selkies in it. And the later books, of course, will as well, because they are a staple in both Scottish and Irish mythologies. I decided I was going to organize my dragon lore, but then I wanted to make it look fancy, so I'm working on pixel art and Googling how to draw Celtic knots. Oh, that's funny. That's very good. If everything works out, will the village be open to a chatty barman? I don't see why it wouldn't be, Matty. At the end of the day, the tavern's goal is to preserve stories. That is our conscript, is to preserve stories and preserve the art of storytelling. As far as the village, I think we figured out the kitchen staff tonight. What's everyone saying? Would the village be open to a weird witch? Again, I don't see why not. Anybody who is passionate about preserving stories will be welcome. All right, so it seemed like from Gunner's reaction, reading the... Now, I've put a lot of work into getting these chapters done. You guys have to tell me if they're not good. So let's go ahead and I'm going to move my chats around here. I'm not going to be able to see... Hang on. Let's go over to here so I can see it. I'm going to slide this down here. Okay. Adjust that. When we do get the tavern doors back open again, there certainly will be a rotating menu. The lady cannot stand to have things sit still. Tell you right now. All right. So we're gonna start with the prologue, and then if you guys enjoy the prologue, we will move on to chapter 1. Prologue of Twisted Fates. The dark had always been my best refuge. It quiets everything when the world feels overwhelming. But tonight, that solace broke. The silence turned feral, a clawing thing, alive. A tremor started deep inside me. Not cold, something else. My bones were turning to brittle glass, every molecule about to fracture from a force I couldn't see or name. And then it broke. Thank you for that. I appreciate your input. Hey, what are you doing? Stop being loud. I'm gonna come over there and grab you and make you work if you don't be quiet. Something deep within my core cracked open like ice splitting. No pain like anything I'd ever known. Just being unmade from the inside, every part of me exposed to a blinding, screaming assault. My thoughts vanished. I splintered, drowning in an ocean of incomprehensible sensation. Flashes burned across my vision, fire, a hungry, roaring beast devouring the world, and beneath it, something else. A sound like breaking, metal singing as it twisted, an explosion sudden and violent, bodies falling, screaming. I didn't understand what I was seeing, only that it felt like ending. A plume of writhing smoke erupted from a wall of flame, shadow limbs flailing, anguish. A wave of ghostly heat washed over me, and I felt my own skin blister. The smoke parted. A silhouette stood there draped in fine clothes, twitching. Something pierced its back. A hand, a blade. I gasped. The figure's pain spearing through my own spine. A bitter taste spread as bile on my tongue. Before the first image faded, a new form emerged. Human or almost human, thorny, coils of pulsing, emerald light wrapped around it, alive and restless. The tendrils dragged the struggling figure deep into suffocating darkness. I felt the struggle in my chest, felt my own lungs compress as if something was pulling the air from me, pulling the light from me, pulling the life from me. Each horror struck me like a physical blow, the air filled with raw screams that clawed at my ears from the inside like splintered glass. The sky vanished, ripped away to reveal a churning, suffocating ceiling of oily blackness. Shadows poured across the land, tangible and devouring. I saw an ancient forest, trees immense as titans. They withered to brittle skeletons in an instant, their wood turning to grey dust. A village crumbled stone by stone into nothingness. Even a child's laughter dissolved with it, and I felt that loss like something ripped inside me. The light wasn't just fading, it was being unmade. Then, amidst the turmoil, a spark of defiance appeared. A grove emerged remarkably untouched. Its leaves glowed like a faint sickly green that pulsed with desperate, fragile life. A wall of silent flame encircled it. Before the grove stood a figure. A woman, I thought, though she was less person of flesh and more an outline of fierce, unbending will, woven from shadow and faint moonlight. There was something vast about her, something that seemed to exist in more dimensions than I could see. She raised her arms not in prayer, but as if physically holding back the crushing weight of the world's end. For a single heartbeat, inexplicable awe pierced through the terror. Then that hope shattered. The fire surged with triumphant hellish hunger. I felt the trees emit a silent vibrational scream that resonated deep in my bones. A soundless agony as the bark split, like living flesh being torn apart. The ground convulsed beneath my feet. It tore open into a jagged gash. The world collapsed inward. Something fell from the roiling black above. It struck the earth before me, a bone-jarring crunch. A circlet of twisted gold lay in the ruin. Most of it was featureless, but one edge bore an etching, a wheat sheaf. My stomach clenched. Why? My hands moved before I could stop them. I reached for it. The metal was sharp and it cut deep into my palms. Blood welling up thick and warm and absolutely real. The only real thing in all of this burning, dying world. The air ignited. Pure flame surrounded me, seeping into my lungs and scorching them with each breath. I was drowning in it. The wind shrieked with raw grief. The ground bucked once more, everything dissolving. Then there was silence. Utter. A void so absolute my ears shrieked from the pressure of it. And in that crushing stillness I felt it. Something was watching me. And I, immense and ancient, and impossibly aware, it bloomed open in the nothingness, pinning me with its gaze. It didn't just see my face. It stripped me bare. Every part of me was exposed. It was moving through my marrow and my memories, dragging up things I didn't even know how to name. Shame, fear, moments I'd buried so deep I'd forgotten them. And when it found them, the weight of knowing them, truly knowing them, was worse than any fire could be. It was absolute and certain and mine, and I would never unknow it. The world was ending, or I was. I screamed and woke. Air, raw and cold, slammed into my lungs. I jolted upright, with a strangled gasp. Drenched in sweat, my heart hammering against my ribs. Sheets tangled around my legs. I thrashed to free myself, but they held me down. The mattress was real. Real beneath my palms. I sat there breathing hard, trying to remember where I was. My small attic chamber, Elderglen. The window shuttered. The wooden chest in the corner, my boots by the door. All exactly what it should be. My hands were shaking. I stared at my fingers in the pre-dawn grey. No blood, no burns, unmarked. The blood I'd felt, the metal I'd touched, the pain, all of it was just the dream. But the taste of ash was still in my mouth. And that eye, that vast ancient eye was still there, pressing against the back of my mind. Still knowing, still certain of things about me. I didn't even know about myself. I knew with complete certainty that I would never unknow what it had shown me. Help me. Someone help. Elias. He was the one who taught me about the side. He said if something broke inside me, I should come to him. He promised he would help me understand it. But Elias was somewhere in Elderglen, downstairs or in his study, and I was here alone. And the weight of that eye pressing behind my eyes, and the phantom taste of ash in my mouth. The dawn was coming. I needed to move before anyone woke, before anyone saw me like this. The stone floor was cold beneath my bare feet. I didn't bother with shoes. I needed to move quickly. My hands trailed along the walls as I went, running my fingers over the ancient runes carved there. They pulsed faintly in the pre-dawn gloom. The air smelled with wood smoke from the dying hearths below. Normally comforting, familiar, but now it tastes like the phantom ash from the vision, like burning and ending in that terrible eye. My foot caught something and I stumbled, and my hand hit the wall hard. Pain shot up my arm, and for a moment, the stone seemed to blur, seemed like it might dissolve into something else. Was I still dreaming? Was any of this real? No, the pain was real. My hand was against the wall, and it was real. Elias's door appeared at the end of the hall. I raised my fist and knocked. Once, twice, hard enough to wake him. Please, I whispered to the wood, and my voice sounded small and broken. Please, Elias, you have to tell me if I'm awake. Did I dream it? Or am I still... Couldn't finish the sentence. The door remained closed. And that, my friends, is the end of the prologue for Twisted Fates. It is to set up the story that we will tell from 5 different perspectives. BP Mondial welcoming over on the Twitch portal. You've marked this on your map. You should be able to find your way back the next time that you seek a story. Alright. Would we like to go on to chapter 1? Well, now you need to keep going. If you're all not bored to death. Hooray, I closed my eyes and lay down in the dark for that great story. I'm glad that you enjoyed, Marcella. Well, then let us... I need more coffee. Cryptid hath abandoned me castle, Una and the tavern. Cryptid hath abandoned me to castle, Una and the tavern. Well, you know what it is. I need to go, I have sleep, but first I need to get a little writing done. Have a good rest of stream. Good night, Ace. It was wonderful to have you. I hope that you rest well, and I hope that you rise again tomorrow, ready to face the day. Is a frog's bum watertight? Well, it ought to be. Bored, but I just want to make sure no one's being bored to death. Lacey says, also please continue. Alright, alright. So this is the only chapter that I have that is fully complete. I'm still finishing up there's a bit of dialogue at the end of the next chapter that I'm not quite happy with yet. See, because we're releasing these through videos, they're all coming out at the same time. If you ask a silly question, you get one in return. Fair enough, Bear. Fair enough. Can I say Cassandra is officially less Jekyll and Hyde? Okay. I add your book to the favorites already. I will purchase it as soon as I get. Whose book? Biblioteca? My book? The only book that we have out presently is this little handbook, which the wife and I put together. It's not actually a book. It's sort of like a summary. It's an abridged version of the festivals that my family celebrates. So it's called Norse Gaelic Festivals, but it is a brief history and guide to how my family celebrates the festivals of the year. There's some historical, some general cultural things in here, but I do emphasize, because I've had people, sticklers, get upset with me, not all of this is broad sweeping. This is specifically how our family celebrates these things. We put it out through Amazon's KDP, how they allow for print on demand, and we made it as cheap as we could. I think it's $4 for the digital version. I think it's $8 or $9 for the soft touch physical one. You can also buy them on the tavern shop if you like. Well, thank you. Biblioteca, do you have a? Did I miss a? Oh, you followed over on Twitch. Wonderful. Do you have a name that you would prefer I call you? I didn't catch it because Biblioteca Publica Mondial is very long. I suppose I could just call you BPM, but that stands for beats per minute. So there's a double meaning there. Norse Garlic is the name of the recipe book. The Norse Garlic Festivals, yes. I do, so what's funny, and I tell this story often, but I'm sure everybody won't mind me telling it again. When we were putting this together, I have about, I don't know, probably 400 recipes, close to 40 pages of recipes that are just like recipes from my family. We do a tradition in our family called Dead Man's Book. And so when we are Conan the Librarian is one of them. Bibley is a cool nickname. Bibley would be a cool nickname, wouldn't it? Conan the Librarian. That is very funny. I like that. The lady Una, she is a huge fan of Conan the Barbarian, the old films and the comic books. So when I was putting this together, I just took as many recipes, seasonal recipes as I could, and I put them in the back. And it was like that much thicker initially, and it was mostly recipes. So when she was putting the book together, she's like, this is a recipe book, not a festivals book. So we cut it down to just a couple of recipes per season and added them into the back. And now everyone is demanding, especially the bear and the Capitan. Everybody is, but Bear and Capitan have been particularly ardent about it. Of us getting a companion book for the festivals book. So like a whole recipe book for the tavern. Yes, I will read the first chapter. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna go into the first chapter. I will be eyes ahead for a moment. This chapter still might need a little bit of editing, but for the most part, I believe it is okay. This will be my first time reading it aloud, so this will let me know if I have any sections that are awkward. Chapter 1. Lyris Threnshade. A damp, clinging haze veiled Seadrake Harbour, thick with brine, rotting dockwood, and the sharp sting of the shipwright's forges. The smell still knotted my stomach. It had been 6 weeks since I'd washed up on the rocks below the cliffs, half drowned and sickened from the river journey. I thought the open water would be no different, and that I could use my foresight to earn berth as a lookout. Foolish hope. The sickness nearly killed me, and when I was no use, they threw me overboard. Below my window, the harbor shifted and sighed. Deep-keeled cargo wains groaned against the tide. Unseen gulls cried like knives in the fog. And the horns of outbound freighters faded like titans, calling into the grey mouth of the bay. The pane of the window felt cool beneath my palm. From the attic hall I watched the mist drift through the narrow alleys. It curled around soot-stained chimneys and blurred the market square into a wash of grey shapes. A rare stillness settled in me, then quickly knotted into unease. Quiet this deep often came before trouble. I turned from the window and crossed to my cot. The small room still held the night's chill, but it was mine. I pulled the dress Alara had given me onto my lap, sea-dyed cotton, blue as dusk. Softer than I had known. She'd found me on the rocks and declared me hers, with too much eagerness, like claiming a stray kitten. Kindness without hidden cost still pricked at my caution. So I repaid it the only way I knew, work. Sweep the hearth, sort relics, endure the kitchen matron's tongue. I kept my eyes open and watched. And watched people, watched exits, watched doors closing. It was how I'd learned to survive. Just a moment, friends. Boots laced, hair bound back, my foot found the warped third step without thought. The shallow dip worn smooth from weeks of treading the same path. The house had taught me where it creaked, where it was solid, and I descended into the stirring sounds of the morning. Pipes sighing somewhere deep in the stone, pans clattering in the scullery, the faint warmth of tea steeping. Before I reached the archway to the showroom, voices stopped me. Caius's words cut sharp, and beneath them a younger voice struggled for composure. Another of the crates from the river shipment are secured in the warehouse, Master Caius. Just the one remains. The harbour wardens flagged it. Said that only that one required your eyes. Something about orders from the capital. It's still sealed with a golden sun crest and a sheaf of tied grain. I froze. Close enough to hear, but not be seen. Listening before being seen was a deeply ingrained habit. A shield. The warm glow of the lamplight made me pause at the showroom's edge. Copper gleamed sharp in the light, the glass instruments threw reflections that caught and held my eyes. The air was thick. Polish, wood smoke, powdered star root, all tangled together, cloying at the back of my throat. Through the windows, mist pressed against the glass like something alive, turning the room into a world separate from the grey outside. Caius Marlowe stood rigid at the central table. His arms were crossed tight enough to crush bone, his jaw locked. The tick near his temple pulsed once and twice, until I'd learned to recognize. He studied the boy I recognized from the docks. The messenger shifted his weight, fingers picking at his satchel strap like it offended him. Caius let out a slow breath. "Son in chief!" He rubbed his chin slowly as if the words tasted bad. "That's not a mess up, River. That's a scandal. And now it's cost me a delay on my own shipment." He shook his head, something shifted in his expression. Anger, yes, but underneath it something else. Fear, maybe. The messenger, hearing Caius's dark tone about the scandal, shifted his weight again. His own curiosity piqued. "That mess, Master Caius. The trouble with that crate's seal. Does it have aught to do with the other big talk spreading from the mainland? About the elder conductor from Elderglen?" His voice dropped to a conspiratorial hush. "They say he's been taken, formally accused of treason, theft from a noble house. Is the word that he's to be brought before the luminary. Elderglen." I breathed deep. A cold dread uncoiled in my stomach, sudden and sickening. The floor beneath my worn boots seemed to tilt. Elderglen. Elias. The man I'd trusted for 6 years. The man who'd sold me. The name echoed in my mind like a struck bell. Harsh and terrible. I pressed myself flatter against the cool stones of the archway. The air squeezed from my lungs as the messenger nodded quickly to Caius's command, fumbled with his satchel, and produced his own folded tally sheet for Caius to sign. Waited for the scrolled signature and then bowed quickly and almost ran out into the fog. "Lyris!" Caius's voice, gruff and unconcerned, cut through the remnants of the messenger's hurried departure. He hadn't turned his attention already on some ledger. "You're up, girl! Get in here!" My heart still hammered against my ribs, a frantic bird trapped by the news of Elderglen. Elias. Before I could stop myself, stepping from the dim archway into the warm glow of the glint-bright showroom, the brightness stung my eyes. Or maybe it was tears. I blinked hard, trying to push the terror down into the cold knot that had formed in my stomach. "You'll go to the river docks," Caius said, still not looking up, his finger tracing a line of script. "A stray parcel is being held by Warden Veller's people. The dispatch on the table." He gestured with his chin towards a sealed letter I had seen earlier. "Will be your authority. She'll be enough to pry it loose. After that, good old's bakery. The cook stand in order, fresh loaves, 3 bricks of yarn leaf tea. And tell good old if he has any of those blackroot biscuits, I'll take double." The letter lay on the polished wood, its Marlowe family crest stamped a little off-center, as usual. Its familiar roughness, which I knew from handling other such dispatches, was a small, incongruous detail in the sudden storm inside me. I hadn't taken it yet. I can manage, Master Caius," I said, my voice barely a whisper. I hoped it sounded normal, steady, but it didn't feel it. Before Caius could grunt an affirmation, a loud clatter and a familiar exclamation erupted from behind a towering stack of newly arrived, unopened crates.
No, you absolutely will not steal her away, Father. It's an outrage.
Ilara emerged, brandishing a small pry bar like a duelist's blade, her eyes flashing.
We have priceless relics to inspect. Real ones this time, not dusty ingots and tarnished copper junk. Tell him, Lyris. Tell him he's a tyrant.
Ilara was a whirlwind. The amber tunic swirled around her, bright and loud, charms clinking from the cord around her waist. Her dark hair escaped from its pins. One of them carved from bone shaped like a key. Her forearms were smudged with soot and what looked like fresh ink. She was so alive, and I felt the weight of my own concealment press hard against my chest. Ilara, Caius sighed, the sound deep with long practice. He still didn't turn to face her directly, instead making minute adjustments to a chronometer on the table.
Don't you Ilara me,
she declared, stalking forward, the charms on her belt jingling a merry counterpoint to her indignation.
We agreed Lyris was to help me sort through the new shipment this morning. I've been waiting 6 weeks for this. And she has an eye, Father, a proper one. I've seen her spot reworked fakes faster than half those overpaid experts you hire from the guilds.
Caius finally straightened, his gaze cool. She will go to the docks. She will collect our bread and tea. Then, Ilara, if the sky has not fallen, and the seas haven't boiled by midday, she may assist you with your relics. You are utterly impossible. She huffed, throwing her hands up and flopping dramatically onto a nearby packing stool with a thump.
She should be uncrating priceless treasures, not trudging through the fog for your breakfast loaves.
My own voice felt distant and small as I stepped forward. The showroom, moments before a warm haven, now felt too bright and too loud. The news about Elias was a raw wound.
I will be quick, Ilara.
Alara's gaze shifted to me, sharp and assessing. The pout from her arguments with Caius was already fading, replaced by something playful. But beneath it, her eyes searched mine. For what? Reassurance? An ally in her thwarted plans?
You'd better be quick, then,
she said with mock sternness in her voice, at odds with the warmth in her eyes. She tapped my arm.
No getting yourself noticed by the harbour wardens, understand? They're always looking for someone who looks like they might actually be useful, and you, Lyris, have competent and tragically mysterious written all over you. Stick to the bread and the parcel.
I attempted a smile, but it felt like a grimace, a poor imitation of ease pulled taut over the cold dread that still gripped my stomach. Caius, oblivious or simply indifferent to our exchange, merely grunted and moved towards the back of the showroom. His voice already barking at a young apprentice to sweep down those threshold runes by the west display before the morning damp corrupts them. Ilara watched her father go, a small, knowing smile playing on her lips. Then she leaned in conspiratorially, her voice dropping into a husky whisper that smelled faintly of the starroot powder she often handled.
Don't let him or this place drag you entirely into the grey, Lyris. You see things differently, I know you do. Don't lose that. Come back, and we'll discover some real wonders. For a little while, we can pretend the world isn't entirely made of murky secrets and other people's troubles. Her words, meant kindly, I thought, landed like a small pointed stones, each one a reminder of Elias and of Elderglen, of secrets I desperately needed to keep. I managed a single tight nod, unable to meet her searching gaze for long. Then, before she could probe further, I turned and stepped through the shop's solid oak door into the embrace of the harbour, or into its maw. The mist hadn't lifted. It coiled around me, thick and tasting of salt, soot, and something else. The metallic tang of old blood or rust, perhaps.
carried on the damp air from the slaughterhouse near the tanneries. The cobblestones underfoot were slick and uneven, puddled from yesterday's rain. Mooring ropes thick as a man's arm hung from shadowed poles like forgotten nooses, and the great cargo wains sat like sleeping beasts behind the gauze-like fall, their rune-etched lanterns pulsing like slow, deep hearts. From somewhere out on the water, a bell tolled twice. Its chime deep and measured. The city seemed to be waking, but not with its usual rhythm. Something agitated moved beneath the surface, a low thrum of unease that made the hair on my neck stand on end. Just as I round the first corner, the damp air already beginning to seep into my worn cloak, I heard the creak of the glint right upper window. Alara leaned out, her bright tunic a splush of colour against the grey. "Lyris," she called, "don't you dare think I won't start examining that shipment without you. And if I find anything truly spectacular, something with the right harmonic sort, a genuine siren song, stone song, and you're not here to see it, I'll just tell you it was all boring old copper to punish you." I could see her grin from here, vivid and alive, and she meant it. Part of me wanted to turn around and climb back up those stairs and help her sort through whatever treasure she'd been waiting 6 weeks for. Part of me wanted to stay in that warmth, that belonging. But Caius had given me an order, and I owed him more than disobedience. Then there was Elias. He listened to me explain the vision. He nodded. He said he would help me understand it, and instead within hours he'd made arrangements to sell me, to some noble desperate enough to pay well for something. Still didn't know what he'd heard in my words that made me worth that much. I didn't know what he understood that I hadn't. All I knew was that he'd chosen profit over 6 years of teaching between us. And now he was in prison, and I was the one who'd escaped. I carried that guilt like a stone. I looked at the docks where Caius had sent me and back at Alara's window, and I thought of the river, the long misty path that led back upriver toward the Elder Glen. Back toward answers I wasn't sure I wanted. Back towards Elias. My breath caught. 3 paths. 3 impossible choices. And I couldn't see which way to go. And that is the end of chapter 1! Reading it out loud, there are some bits that are redundant and need to be reworked, but overall, I'm fairly happy with that. I guess I'm actually the weird one, but I got my beast. Very funny. Oh. Alright, let me switch my things back around again so that I can see everything. Okay, put you back up where you belong. Lovely. Just curious, I'm considering adding more to the Judgment Goddess story arc in Book 1. Starting in Act 1, would you recommend that castle based on what you remember? I'll need to read back over it, Matty. Send me a message over on... Send me a message over on Discord so I remember, and I'll read back over it and I'll give you my opinion on it. Already a masterpiece. I drifted off into the Great Beyond towards the end, but not due to boredom. Well, I'm glad to hear it. And I'm glad that you enjoyed. Huzzah, and yes, you should be happy, mate. I didn't know what was going on, but I liked it anyways. Now, is it confusing? That is the important thing, because it needs to be at least sensical. Each of these chapters has to be sensical, because they need to tell sort of a complete story within themselves. EJ Sean raided in, I didn't realize. I apologize for that. Good night, Mel. Good night, all. Thank you for hosting Castle and the Lady. I'm still a lurker on Discord. Who do I message the Notion page to? You can send that message to me, Mel, if you like. Sorry for opening the kitchen impromptu. That's quite all right. You'll not hear me complain. I am a big fan of a good community cooking. Reminds me of home. And Marcella, I'm glad that you enjoyed. I had fun. Good. I'm glad. Because each of these has to come out individually, I want the stories of each chapter to sort of stand on their own 2 feet. And it's going to be a little bit weird because eventually we're going to put this into a book. It makes sense if one is paying attention, which they should when reading. And in the morning, I'm making waffles. Yes, Fred. Yes. All right, friends, what do you say we have a song and then I send you all off? It is quite late. It is 10. So let's do our 2 songs. We had 2 requests for songs. So we'll get those done and then I'll send you all off into the evening. How does that sound? The imagery was good. I got a lot of mental pictures, but I didn't know what any of it was about. Okay, fair enough. Which means I just need to be a little bit more clear. And Lyris's chapter is a little bit more image heavy because she has what is called intuition. So she can get glimpses of what is about to happen in her mind. That is her magic ability. She is able to glimpse things that are about to happen. She can sense intentions from people. So she sees the world sort of in a fast forward sort of way. She sees things a little bit before they happen. So her mind is a little bit frantic. But I don't want it to be too terribly confusing. So I think I know what I need to do to make it more sensical. EJ Sean, I apologize for not catching you when you came in. Let's go ahead and we'll get you a shout out if we didn't get one already. EJ, are you, or I guess we'll just say Sean. Sean, are you still in, or did you head out somewhere? Thank you, Matty. I appreciate you. So we had Peter Street and we had Black Velvet Band, right? Those were our songs. I think we'll do He Raided and Ran. Did I miss the message? I apologize for that. For anyone who came in from Sean's, who came in with Sean, let him know that we appreciate him. Okay, so we had King Cal and Sean. Hope you have a good rest of the stream. Got a raid and run. All right, my friend. Well, I appreciate you any which way. And anyone who knows the gentleman, let him know that we appreciate him, and we'll give him his. If he wants to come back at a later date, we'll give him his Viking raspberries. Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll snooze. I don't want you guys to have to deal with that, so we'll snooze the ads, and then we'll do the songs, and then after the songs, we'll over on our Twitch friends will raid out to someone. So let's go ahead and get that. We're gonna mute this music, and we'll start with Peter Street. Now, this is one of my favorite songs because it is actually about a gentleman who comes from my hometown. And it's can we do all right, we'll do the sick note too. We'll do Peter Street, sick note, and then we'll do Last Velvet Band. Or Black Velvet Band, sorry. We'll do Black Velvet Band to send everyone off with. It's fair enough. Settle in, friends. Now, keep in mind, we don't sing well, we sing to have fun. So if your ears are in danger of bleeding, please make sure you cover them. Yeah, Petra over on the YouTube portal. Oh, ye landsmen and ye seamen, come listen to my song. It's of a trick once played on me, it won't delay you long. I came from sea the other day, a fair girl I did meet. She kindly asked me to dance, 'twas up on Peter Street. Oh no, says I, me fair maid, though I can dance quite well. Tonight I'm bound for Wicklow's town, it's where my people dwell. You'd better come with me, she said, for the distance is not far. And finding her so friendly, I jumped into a car. Well, as the dance was over, straight to the bed did go. Was a little did I ever think she'd pull my overthrow. Robbed my gold watch and 30 pounds, a pack of cigs, and fled. And left me there stark naked, lone upon the bed. Now when I awoke in the morning, it was nothing did I spy, but a woman's shirt and apron upon the bed did lie. I wrung my hands, I tore my hair, I cried, what shall I do? Oh, tonight I'm bound for Wicklow's town, no more will I see you. Well, as the streets were lonesome at the hour of 2 o'clock, I put on that shirt and apron and marched down to the dock. The crew they saw me coming, these words to me did say, my dear old chap, you struck a snap since you've been gone away. Are those the new spring fashions that the ladies were on shore? Where is the shop you bought 'em at, and is there any more? The captain on the quarter-deck looked at me with a frown, saying, Jack, my boy, a better suit than that for £30. I would, sir, if I could, sir, if I only got the chance. But I met a girl on Peter Street, and she asked me to a dance. She danced my heart's reception, I got robbed from head to feet. I'll take my oath no more, I'll go to a dance on Peter Street. Oh, you landsmen and you seamen, a warning take by me. Be sure to choose good company when you go out on spree. Be sure to choose good company, or you'll find yourself like me, in a woman's shirt and apron for to fit you out for sea. Marcella, you said, I wish I could stay, but the Sandman is calling farewell and see you next time. Have yourself a wonderful evening. We'll look forward to seeing you back again for Storytime. Again, we do Storytime live on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. I hope you rest well, you have a wonderful weekend, and you rise tomorrow ready to conquer the day. I suggested Black Velvet Band, the song, not the drinks, Lamar. All right. Next, we will do the sick note, but we're doing the Pat Cooksey version of it. I think I might be coming out sick, friends. My throat and my nose are feeling a bit stuffed. It's unfortunate. Yeah. After I'm done, you can. You don't need to do it at this moment. Dear sir, I write this note to you to tell you of me plight, for at the time of writing I am not a pretty sight. Me body is all black and blue, me face a deathly grey, and I write this note to say why Paddy's not at work today. Was working on the 14th floor, some bricks I had to clear. To throw them down from such a height was not a good idea. The foreman wasn't very pleased, him being an awkward sod. He says I'd have to cart them down the ladder in me hod. Now clearing all these bricks by hand, it was so very slow, so I hoisted up a barrel and secured the rope below. But in me haste to do the job, I was too blind to see that a barrel full of building bricks was heavier than me. So when I untied the rope, the barrel fell like lead, and clinging tightly to the rope, I started up instead. I shot up like a rocket till to my dismay I found that halfway up I met the bloody barrel coming down. Well, the barrel broke me shoulder, as to the ground it sped, and when I reached the top I banged the pulley with me head. I clung on tightly, numb with shock from this almighty blow, as the barrel spilled out half the bricks some 14 floors below. Now when these bricks had fallen from the barrel to the floor, I then outweighed the barrel and so started down once more, still clinging tightly to the rope, me body racked with pain. When halfway down I met the bloody barrel once again. The force of this collision halfway up the office block caused multiple abrasions and a nasty state of shock. Still clinging tightly to the rope, I fell towards the ground and landed on the broken bricks the barrel scattered round. As I lay there groaning on the ground, I thought I'd passed the worst, but the barrel hit the pulley wheel and then the bottom burst. A shower of bricks rained down on me, I hadn't got a hope. As I lay there bleeding on the ground, I let go the bloody rope. The barrel then being heavier, then started down once more, and landed right across me as I lay upon the floor. It broke 3 ribs in my left arm, and I can only say that we hope you'll understand why Paddy's not at work today. Thank you for the song, my friends. Always lovely to sing with you. And we're going to finish up here. How long do we have till ads run? We got 2 minutes. I don't think I'm going to be able to get through Black Velvet Band in 2 minutes, but let's see. We're going to give it a go. Here we go. In a neat little town they call Belfast, apprentice to trade I was bound, and many an hour sweet happiness have I spent in this neat little town. A sad misfortune came over me, which caused me to stray from the land, far away from my friends and relations, betrayed by the Black Velvet Band. Her eyes, they shone like diamonds. I thought her the queen of the land, and her hair it hung over her shoulders, tied up with a black velvet band. I took a stroll down Broadway, meaning not long for to stay, when who should I meet but this pretty fair maid came a-traipsing along the highway. She was both fair and handsome, her neck it was just like a swan's, and her hair it hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. Her eyes, they shone like diamonds. I thought her the queen of the land, and her hair it hung over her shoulders, tied up with a black velvet band. I took a stroll with this pretty fair maid, and a gentleman passing us by. Well, I knew she meant the undoing of him by the look in her in her roguish black eye. A gold watch she took from his pocket and placed it right into my hand. And the very first thing that I said was, bad cess to the black velvet band. Her eyes, they shone like diamonds. I thought her the queen of the land, and her hair it hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. Before the judge and the jury, next morning I had to appear. And the judge, he says to me, young man, your case is proven quite clear. We'll give you 7 years penal servitude to be spent down in Van Diemen's Land, far away from your friends and companions, betrayed by the Black Velvet Band. Her eyes, they shone like diamonds. I thought her the queen of the land. and her hair it hung over her shoulders, tied up with a black velvet band. Thank you for the song, my friends. I've never heard the normal version of the song. What is the other version of the song? My mom sings her eyes hung over her shoulders. Just to be ridiculous. That's funny. That's very funny. Cade! Hello, my friend. Hurricane Cade, yes? Long time no see. Welcome in. Good to see you. Yeah, so I'm also stuck in a dilemma in book 3 that is caused by book 2. So there's a character I want to live in book 2, but she's cluttering book 3 a bit. Would it be better just to kill her off in book 2? That is a good question, Matty. I guess it depends on what her function is in the story and whether or not you think people are going to like the character. Cade, it's good to see you. I'm glad you dropped in. We're at the end. We're getting ready to end up here. But I appreciate you for dropping in. Yeah, send her on a quest far, far away. Send him on a quest far, far away, whoever it is. I love that song. Orphan and Blood. Welcome in. It's good to see you. I always come in at the end. It seems like it. Alright, friends. Some of you are probably going to get stuck in an ad over on Twitch, but I'm going to try and raid us out before then. We may be back on Sunday. We may not. It's going to depend on what time the lady and I get home. If we are going to be back, I will be sure to let you all know. But tentatively, let's say that story time is going to be cancelled for Sunday. And I may pop on tomorrow evening, after all things are said and done, to get us a chapter of Harry Potter in, since we didn't get to do that today. Yeah, so that's where we're going to end up for the night. Let's see if any of our friends are on over on Twitch. And for everyone else, I will thank you all for dropping in. Thank you to everyone who tipped the Tavern Keeper. Thank you for everyone who joined in on the revelry and the ridiculousness of the evening. I appreciate you all. And while it is sad that we are parting, we will gather here again the next time we all seek a story. So until then, my friends, I will bid you all stay bloodthirsty. And I will see you next time. Have a good night, my friends. Rest well!